Hello, everyone. Am I too loud? Sorry. Just to wake you up. I think it's near the lunch time, so hopefully you guys had a good lunch. So I'm Saurabh from the Microsoft Visio group, and this is my colleague Rohan.
Hey guys. Hi.
Hello. So we'll take you through a bunch of exciting things that you can build using Visio, using data connected to Visio, using new types of visualizations and all that. So before I get started, just wanted to get an idea of like how many of you have used data-driven diagrams with Visio or data-connected diagrams with Visio. Anybody? Oh, few folks have, so that's great. And how many of you have built some sort of solutions using APIs related to Visio, whether it's Visio Desktop or Visio Online? Not many. Great. So I think good. So we'll cover some of these things as part of this session about how you can use data and integrate that with Visio, and also how you can build solutions using Visio, both Visio Online and Visio Desktop. So we've got a bunch of demos. We'll show you how you can do some of these things so that at least you get a good starting point for it, and then you can go on and look up all the online resources that we have available. So in terms of the agenda, we'll talk about Visio Online's extensibility, how you can link Visio with Power BI, and Visio Desktop's extensibility. So just to have a quick introduction to Visio itself and who all use Visio. So you can see there are companies across the world in Fortune 500. Almost 94% of the companies use Visio. There are millions of users across Visio. And the reason why Visio is so powerful and why people use it so much is the extreme diversity of shapes that are present in Visio, which let you visualize almost anything. It could be a network diagram. It could be a HR diagram, operational processes, process diagrams, mind mapping solutions, software development and architecture-related diagrams, quality assessment-related diagrams, what have you. Right? So across the world, folks have been using Visio to create these kind of visuals and present these ideas, discuss these with their colleagues, collaborate over them. And one thing that is coming to fore as time is progressing is that as the data overload is going on increasing, folks are looking for more and more efficient ways of connecting data and building solutions using Visio. So that's what we'll be talking about today. I'll ask Rohan to start off with that, and I'll be jumping in between, and we'll take you through some of these scenarios, how you can build these types of solutions using Visio.
Yeah, thanks, Saurabh. So I just wanted to repeat that Visio is the best platform to connect visualizations with data. And I'm sure most of the businesses today which run on data really want to represent this data in a beautiful manner. They want to represent their key metrics and the business processes on top of their workflows so that they can gain insights out of it and be able to achieve more. To do that, if we look at the data and extensibility landscape for Visio, we have two broad platforms. So one is the Visio Desktop, and then the other is the Visio Web. On Visio Desktop, you can do a lot of things. So to start with, you can connect your diagrams with data, and I'll show you a live example for that. Then you can also build smart shapes. So the smart shapes are, for example, if you have a thermometer and you want the mercury to change based on the temperature values, or if you have let's say a door, and if you want the shape to open and close and show that representation. So we'll have a demo for that also. The power of Visio is that it's driven via some shape sheets. Shape sheets are nothing, they are almost like Excel files, and every property of your shape, the color, the height, width, style, all of that can be driven using data. So we'll take one example for that. And then whatever you can do manually using your hand or on Visio, we have provided APIs for all of that. So using that, you can build COM add-ins which run on top of Visio itself, or you could have like invisible kind of Visio. So in your own application, you could embed Visio and use this APIs to communicate with them. So this is about the desktop world. On the online side, we also have a rich, powerful, extensible solution. So the ones are the data which you had connected to your diagram in desktop can now be taken online, and in your online reports you could just view them. So the Visio Online supports data connectivity. It also supports data graphics just like Visio Desktop, and we'll talk about that. It supports embedding. So for example, if you want to embed in your websites, if you want to embed in your SharePoint page to build a rich scenario, that's also supported. We'll have a demo for that. And it also supports mashup APIs. So if you want to build some powerful solutions where you are interacting with your business process, then all of that is also possible. This session would be full of demos, and please feel free to stop me at any point of time or ask queries. Let's start with the demos. We'll start with the desktop one first. So I'll show you an example of how do you connect your diagram with data. So this is a typical network diagram, and as you can see here, I have my hub, I have my servers, routers, and all of that. And let's say my data that I want to represent on this network diagram is this one. So it has the name column, which is what are the machine names, what is the OS installed, what is the IP address, state, status, what is the CPU utilization, and all of that. Now if I want to represent this in a very visual manner on top of my diagram, let's see how we can do that. So I'll just go to Visio, and I have my diagram open. I'll go to the Data tab and click on Custom Import. Now we have multiple ways to import. I'll just show you an example of the custom import. Now as you can see, we can connect to Excel, Access, SharePoint list, SQL Server, and any ODBC driver connection. In our case, it's the Excel one. So I'll just go select the file that we had just seen, which is the data link network diagram. Click Next. It will ask for the sheet in question, and then I'll click on Finish. So what will happen is that on the right hand side, you must have noticed that there is an external data window that has opened up. So now my diagram has automatically connected itself with this data source, and that data source can be seen on the right hand side. This is the first part of it. So we are able to connect, and it was just very simple. Go to Data tab, click on Custom Import, and just get the data. The next part is that of linking it to your diagram. So in the same tab, you have the link data option. So what I could do is I'll just select all the custom external data field, click on link data, and it will ask me what is the parameter in which you want to link the two of them. So if you can see on the diagram, we have mentioned the names. For example, you have laptop 1, laptop 2, laptop 3. So it is saying, do you want to link the name with your Excel column, which has a name column in it, so that there could be a direct match. For any linking to take place, your data must have one column which uniquely identifies the shapes of your diagram. So in our case, it is the name, and what I could do is I'll say yes, the name column of the Excel file should map with the shape text of the diagram. And when I'll click on Finish, you will automatically notice that some data graphics elements have been added, as you can see here. So now what has happened is that we've found which all shapes match, and we have added some data graphics. Now, what were these data graphics? So I could just click on them, and you'll see that it automatically detected status and CPU. So let's say we also wanted to have OS installed, and I'll just again zoom in a little. So for the OS installed, the data graphics can be of multiple types. So let's say I wanted to represent the CPU, which is currently shown as a bar. Instead of that, I could choose to have it like a speedometer. So I'll click on speedometer, and all of these would become now speedometers. Similarly, I could choose the disk I/O, and let's say the disk I/O I want it to be like a pie chart. So I can click on the progress circle, and that will happen. Let's say the state, which is whether the machine is on or off, that I want to represent it as colors. For example, if the machine is off, we want it to be red. So I'll click on the state, and now I can choose color. So you'll automatically some colors getting applied, and we can also customize all of this. So as you can see, it is just so simple to connect your diagram with data. And once you connect it, you can apply all of these rich data graphics to it. I can choose IP address, and I could want to have it like an icon set, I can do that. I can choose it to be a range of colors and not just on-off kind of thing. That's also possible. So that was the first part of the extensibility. In the desktop side, we wanted to connect to data. We are able to do it now. So I'll move to the next one, which is about smart shapes. So
the good thing here, as Rohan is showing, is that any data that you link with shapes becomes part of that shape. So if you could show the shape data.
yeah.
So in Visio, every single shape, whether it is a call out or any network diagram related shapes or org chart related shapes, all of them have this capability that you can link data to it, and you can link any number of fields to it, and then you can program on top of those fields. So the moment you have this data linkage available, it just opens up a wide variety of visualization scenarios where you can now change this data programmatically and the diagram would refresh as such. Yeah, there's a question here.
Yeah.
How do you link which shape with which server?
Sure. So
Yes.
in this one, I think what we did is that, as Rohan was showing, each machine had a shape text on it, like Ben, Jamie, Jane, etc. And the column that was there in the Excel sheet, that also had a name column, and we'd use the named column. But we can also use any other column, and we were just showing you the quick way of linking this thing, where you saw that, okay, this column in the Excel must match this attribute on the shape. And you can use that. You can specify slightly more complicated conditions like
yes.
and conditions.
And we could also just drag and drop. For example, I could choose this row, and let's say I want this row to be represented on this shape. I could just drag and drop, and it asks, do you want to override? Because this was already linked, I'll say yes. And now this Jane element, or the shape, is linked with the new row that we did. So we have drag and drop as an option, shape data properties as an option, and shape text as an option. Yes, sir.
So is it possible to pre-name or pre-format the shape types with the key or the identifier
Yes.
Yes.
prior to formatting the?
Yes, that's also possible. So the shapes can have masters, and the master could have those shape data properties pre-filled with it, so that you could just fill in the names.
Yeah. So
What I'm asking is, if to get the names exactly right manually is tough. So you could format ahead of time to match your key.
right. So what you can do is, let's say this is a simple rectangle that I've pulled in over here. And if I go to data over here, you'll see that I can access this rectangle's shape data also. Now if I see this, sorry, I closed. So data, shape data. And you see that there are already some fields over here. What I can do is that I can name these rectangles over here. Let's say for this one, I wanted to insert one more, another field to represent the, give it a name or something like that. What I can do is I can define new attributes over here. So I can say that, okay, for this rectangle, I need a name column. And the value for this one should be, let's say, ignite. And I say, okay. So that just need to say string.
I took this question a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought like if you had a listing of the machine names.
Yes, yes.
Right.
You automatically gin up those.
So
the diagram itself.
At the end of my session, I could do it for, we have a new feature called data visualizer. So using your Excel data, you could automatically create a diagram which has all of this filled in. For your particular case, using APIs, we can do it. So using the API, you can read the Excel and then drop shapes with those right names, etc. Yeah.
So we've heard this requirement many times where people have data already in Excel. They have data already in Excel, and they would like it to be presented visually, right? So we've come up with a new platform called the Data Visualizer. What that does is that you can point Visio to an Excel. It'll read data from there, and it'll create the diagram for you. So we've started off with the process flow template for that, and you can automatically generate process flows. And when it generates process flow like that, it takes attributes from that Excel sheet and creates the shapes with those attributes so that you don't have to do the manual part. We'll come to that in a little while.
Right. So as you saw, it was so easy
There's
to
another
quickly create.
question.
Yeah, sure.
In the data visualizer, you
Yes.
have to provide some, it cannot infer automatically everything. So if you have another column which tells that, okay, this is a parent, this is a child, or this is a starting node, this is the next node, etc., it can take those and link them appropriately.
Right. So moving to the next part of the smartness of Visio, which is about each shape can be smart. For example, I have this chair here. I could just click on it and say hide arms. The arms are hidden. Now, this was not done using any programming per se, just using the shape sheet. Just show you the shape sheet here. Expand it a little. So the properties of the shape, all the geometry, everything is defined here. Color, graphics, everything is defined. So for advanced developers of Visio, they could quickly create their own shape of their own choice. Now, another example, let me drop a multi-chair rectangle here. Now, as you can see, if I reduce the width, the number of chairs will go down. And if I increase the width, the chairs will increase. So Visio is so smart. As a developer, you could build such smart shapes and then submit it to as a stencil, and we have also integrated with the template store and stencil store for the community. So now I'll move to the next part, which is, let's say we had this Visio diagram, we created it, we connected it with data. But if I wanted to be live, sitting on a website, let's say on the SharePoint site, and then be able to change and reflect data, so I'll give you an example for that. So in this example, I'm just using another Visio diagram. So this is a store, and it is showing the layout of the entire store, and it's having the inventory. So I want to see what's the inventory status for each of my elements here. And this diagram was actually connected to the inventory database or the inventory Excel file, just like how we did it earlier. This is the Excel file which is for it. There are rack numbers and small quantity, medium quantity, and the total quantity of stock available for that rack. So with Visio Online, I could just click on allow refresh first. And while this loads up, as we had mentioned that each shape has shape data properties. So
that's just the demo jinx.
Yeah.
Don't mind it. So what we did is we connected these shapes like how Rohan was showing you earlier. And once you've done that, once you take that the Visio file and the Excel file and you put it on SharePoint Online, what it can do is that anytime anyone wants to view this thing, even if they don't have a Visio license, they can go to this URL and they can see this Visio diagram linked to data, and they can use that as a dashboard. So this provides enormous flexibility in terms of how you want to represent the state of your operations. It could be a process chart, it could be a network diagram, it could be a PNID diagram, and as long as it is connected with data, it can be viewed online and used as a dashboard.
So for example, this particular one, if I click on the shape info, I'll realize that this is rack number 5, and it has all of these quantities mentioned, and this one is rack number 7. So let's say the person comes, he fills up rack number 5 with the values. So I'll just take the value of 7 and refill it on the 5th rack. And I'll just click on edit, take the value of 7 and place it with the 5th one. So the person came, he filled up the stocks, and here when I'll do a refresh, this particular element which was blue will now change to green, because that is what it had been defined.
And we are showing it as a simple example using Excel, but you can imagine that today with something like Power Apps, you can build a small mobile app that can keep updating the values, and as soon as the value is updated, Visio can show you the refreshed state of your operations.
Yes. So this would have worked. I'm not sure what happened wrong here.
The Excel didn't get saved. I think.
Yeah, I think the Excel failed. So moving to the next part, which is about, so I'll just move to the desktop. So we saw the desktop piece, data connection, smart shapes. API part is out of this particular session's topic, but we could always refer to it later. Online, the same data and diagram can be now taken to online, be data connected and be able to refresh. Now let's see the embedding scenario. So, and before that, I just wanted to call out a couple of things. In Visio Online, what you have is that you have the SharePoint Online and the SharePoint On-Prem. There are two SharePoint technologies, right? So on the SharePoint On-Prem deployment, we are still using the legacy Visio Web Access, which is the old way in which the diagrams were rendered online, and that continues to be the story for that. For online, as you can see, now we have the new Visio Cloud, which is Visio Online, and it is faster, it is much more performant, and it gives diagrams in a better fidelity. So that is on just the viewing part. Even on the extensibility part, we are going to add more APIs. So currently it has its own APIs, which is very similar to the Office APIs. So if anyone is using the Office JavaScript APIs for Office add-in development, you'll feel that the Visio Online APIs are very similar. That is one. So we have onboarded onto the Office framework for JavaScript APIs. The second advantage is that the new APIs will also be supporting Create. Because we have launched Visio Online Create, we'll soon have APIs to do creation. So that is the second advantage. The third advantage is that the earlier one, which was Visio Web Access at the bottom, was only available in SharePoint On-Prem. The new one, which is Visio Online, will be available not just SharePoint Online, but will also be available in, say, OneDrive for Consumer and other hosts going forward. So we are moving towards the new world where this new API is excuse me, at par with the Office add-ins API. So let's say tomorrow Visio comes up with Visio add-ins, the same API or same piece of code could then be used for Visio add-ins and will become cross-platform. So with that, let me show you an example for embedding first. How do you embed Visio Online into a modern SharePoint page? So this is my modern web page. And let's say it's about the Contoso team introduction. We want to have this page where we tell everyone that, hey, this is the org structure and things like that. And org structure can nicely be represented in Visio. So what I can do is I'll just click on Edit. And the SharePoint modern pages have this concept of modern web parts. So for example, if I click on this, here is a list of the modern web parts. So I can choose the file viewer, and in the file viewer web part, not just Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but also Visio files can be inserted. So I'll choose the diagram that I want, let's say the org chart, and click on Open. So now you'll notice that the org chart diagram, which is the Visio diagram, is now embedded into the SharePoint page. So now as a person who is new to this team, Contoso team, I can quickly see, okay, here is the org structure, and this is the page, and then I could have news articles and things like that. So embedding of Visio into any page has become very simple. Moving to the next one, so we have seen the data connected diagrams and embedding. Let's go to the API. So what kind of powerful solutions? Yes? Yes? For PowerPoint? Yeah, that's a good feedback. We'll take a note of it. As of now, we don't support a built-in embedding into PowerPoint, but you could always build your own PowerPoint add-in, and in that add-in you could have the Visio inside it, because finally it's just an iframe.
So your question was about embedding Visio diagrams within PowerPoint?
Yeah.
So I think right now you'll have to build an add-in which can do that for you. And as Rohan mentioned, because we are using the Office add-in paradigm, how you can build Office add-ins which can do this kind of work, you'll be able to do that for Visio as well.
Yes. So moving to the next one, which is about Visio Online APIs. So using the Visio Online APIs, you can build some rich solutions. For example, if you have a list of processes and you want to just click on the list item and show the right diagrams, or if you want to interact with it and add some overlays on top of it, all of that is now possible. Let's take a quick example. So this is my SharePoint site, and
project.
Yeah, and I'll just go to Pages, and I will quickly. Yeah.
Sure.
Say you're connecting from an external program like, say, Workday for your org chart.
Right.
Is there an API that connects that into Visio so it's a real-time update if you embed it onto the SharePoint site?
So using the SharePoint site, using the APIs, what you could do is that you could have the data which is backing this org chart available on your SharePoint page, and then using the JavaScript APIs, call in the overlay, add highlight methods and do it in real time.
today, Rohan will show you some of the APIs which can highlight and annotate the shapes which are there. If you're looking for something where you actually want the shapes to go away, let's say there was some attrition in your organization and some people have moved on, and you want to show that the org chart has regenerated with those members removed, you will have to regenerate the diagram. So today we don't have that capability of regeneration of this diagram, but the data visualizer platform that we were just discussing earlier, we plan to make that also available via APIs. So those are what we call creation or editing related APIs. We are working on those and we'll have those out in the future.
Okay, another question.
Sure.
If the person leaves, but the position's still open and somebody else fills it,
Right.
do you have to recreate it, or does it automatically update?
No, so if let's say the name or the photograph of the person is to be replaced, that does not require regeneration of the diagram as such. So that can be, if that is data connected, that can just be changed. So,
Yeah. So let's say this is a very standard page, and I'll even show you the code behind it. It has a couple of functionality. One is just inserting the Visio diagram. So what we had seen in the modern pages using the file viewer web part, this is a classical page, classical SharePoint page. And as I clicked on this button, the Visio diagram was inserted. Now this is more like the HR diagram, which is talking about what are the processes and steps over there. The code behind is very simple. So all of this is currently available on GitHub and dev.office.com for you to reference. So we talk about what are the APIs, what is the definition, and all of this is publicly available. We also have a document on migration. For example, if you are using Visio Web Access, even for SharePoint Online, and now you want to migrate over, then this is a good guide which is publicly available. So in the first step, all you need to do is you need to have an embed session, office extension.embed session. This is a very standard way of doing it for any of the Office apps. And in that, what it does is it builds a connection between your iframe, which is hosting the Visio file, and the developer code, which is going to talk to it. And then the request context is needed to actually traverse the message and pass it across. So now that I have inserted the diagram, I can show you another functionality which is about adding highlights to it. So when I'll click on this button, the highlights would appear on all of the shapes. So how I'd done that was, there's this add highlight method. There's this function to get the active page, and then you have the property to get all the shapes of it. I'll just zoom in a little. And once I have all the shapes, I need to load them. So this is a async model. The earlier model was a synchronous model. This is an async model. So you load the shapes, you load the properties that you want, and then you finally call the sync method. When you call the sync method, there is a two-way binding, and both the iframe, which is in the Visio side, and the developer frame are now in the same state. And after that, once I have all the shapes, I'll just do an iteration over all of that. And there is a highlight property for a shape in which I've set red to be the color and the width of it. Now, that got the highlight part of it. So I can toggle it off if I need to. The next one is about adding toolbars. So Visio has some toolbars like zoom, etc., shape data, and the file name. If you want to keep it or remove it, that's possible. I could even have programmatic way of doing zoom and zoom outs. And I could also choose to add some overlays on top of it. So for example, I could click on a shape. So when that shape was clicked, I get an on shape selected event. And then when I click add overlay, you would see that Visio Online has been added here. So you have overlay text ignite. Now, so this was one example where you could do a couple of things. Let us see how customers have done it, and we'll have just two simple scenarios for it, which Saurabh will talk about.
So our customers have already started using this Visio Online capabilities, and they've started to create variety of solutions using it. So this is a very simple scenario where is a company in Europe. It's an energy company, and they want to provide a very quick kind of visual navigator for the process documentation that they maintain. So there are various steps in the process, and for each process, there is a bunch of compliance and regulatory documentation that needs to be updated, and they are using Visio as a visual way to move through each step And as I click on these, you would see that the documents that are linked with each step are updated. You can drive workflows through it that, okay, for this step, this is the documentation, and when you go here, you need to update stuff over there. And again, this is being done programmatically. You can link to pages. You can go from one process to sub-process, and so forth. There are other very more powerful examples, like for example, in this case, as you can see, this is another internal Microsoft department which manages the sales processes, and they use what is known as a failure mode effect analysis, a risk management technique to identify where there could be potential issues in the system that they are supporting. So they have laid it out as a network architecture supporting their system, and this is the process that they are supporting. And you will see that at each step of the process and at the architecture level that supports this process, they have got data coming in and being highlighted as possible failure modes and any issues or incidents that they see over there. So let me go back to the architecture diagram. You'll see that you see these call-outs over here. So each of these are possible incidents that or incidents that they have seen at these components of their architecture. And by clicking on one of them, what I can see is at the bottom they have a SharePoint list, which shows that, okay, what are the problems that were encountered at these steps. And so this provides, again, a very visual way for them to know what are the hotspots, what are the problem areas in their infrastructure, and they can target those. If somebody identifies a new problem or wants to raise a ticket, they can do so from here, and as soon as they add a ticket from here, you'll see that it will be reflected in real time on the Visio diagram itself. So, the ability for Visio to be embedded in these kind of applications provides application developers fascinating variety in terms of how they want to use it, what sort of solutions they want to build, and we'll go on to some other areas to show you some more examples.
So I think we have briefly touched upon all of these, the data connection part, shape sheet, APIs on the online side, again, data graphics, embedding into it, and also the API part of it. Now let's take another form of embedding, and we have built a custom visual for Power BI, which means in your Power BI report, now you could insert a Visio online diagram and then connect it with Power BI data. I'm sure many of you all would have come to the booth on our end and have seen it, or in other sessions, like for example, Power BI and Power Apps sessions, this has been demoed. So we'll show you how to create such a report from scratch, and let's see it. So assuming this is my Visio diagram that I've created, this is for facility management, and let's say my company Contoso is into smart building solutions, and we monitor the temperature and other parameters for every employees to ensure that all the rooms are always having the right temperature. So here is my Visio diagram, and here is the data for it. So I have people name, this is a very sample data, so it's a small set. What is the room number they are in, what is their expected temperature, what is the temperature that they want, what is the observed temperature, and what is the deviation. And now I'll go to the Power BI side, and you'll see that I've just created a standard report here. I have imported the data using the Power BI's way of importing data, and I've created these standard visuals, which is the bar chart for expected temperature and the observed temperature. So if I wanted to create a Visio visual and insert this into it, what I could do is I'll go to import from store, and you'll notice that Visio Visual is now part of the Power BI custom visuals. We have been in preview for quite some time, and we are also going to release very soon. We are supported on Power BI web, Power BI desktop, and also Power BI mobile apps. So we are supported in all of the Power BI platforms. Once the Visio visual is inserted, and let's say what I wanted to see on the Visio diagram was the deviation in the temperature that he wanted to set and what he's seeing, and the value itself. So I could click on, so let's say I don't even have this. I'll click on Visio, increase the diagram size, and the ID column, as we had noticed, we need to have one column which determines each shape on Visio diagram. In our particular case, each of this shape has a shape data called room number. So each room number is unique, and if on the Power BI side we had one column which had room numbers, then it would be easy to connect the two of them. So I will choose room number and place it to the ID field, and what I also wanted was deviation, and I'll put it to values. Now what it asks is give me the URL for the diagram that you want, so you can just copy the URL and paste it here, click on connect. Now behind the scenes we try to find a match if there was any property on Visio side which contained the room number, and if yes, we will connect the two of them automatically. So in this case, let's expand it and see what happened. So there has been a match, and if I had chosen this to be colors, automatically all of these would have been colored. Now two of the rooms for some reason were not able to match because they contained some shape data properties which was not matching that of the Excel files column that we had. What I can do is I can click on a shape, I'll expand this, click on a shape in question, and let's say 2F8008 is this one, and maybe there was some space, there was some uppercase, lowercase issue that resulted in this, and I can click on another shape and map the two. So as you can see, even if there was no mapping done, yes, using manual mapping we can just link the two of them. Yes, sir.
Two rooms, you knock down a wall to make one big conference room. Do you have to re-embed this one also like in the other example?
So
Yeah.
if you had once embedded it, you had embedded the Visio diagram, and then you changed the Visio diagram and the diagram URL remains the same, then you need not do the same process again. Yeah. So we take the
You'll have to
latest
update
copy
the
of the diagram.
So like, if there have been some remodeling in the office, you need to update the diagram, and then you just refresh it and it will work. So.
Yes. Yes, so as we had seen in the data here, the column that I wanted to show as colors was the deviation column. And what we do is we try to automatically find the range, break it into 4 parts, and just give some sample colors. You can obviously change them. So let's say I didn't want this one, and instead of, if there is a higher deviation, for me that is red. So I'll choose red for that. And for lower deviations, I'm okay with it. So I may choose a bluish color, and the color changes. Let's say now I also want to represent text. So I have expected temperature and observed temperature. And as soon as I do that, you will notice that text is added to them. Now all of this is also configurable. So I could say instead of the left side, do it on the far right. Instead of the label, I don't want the label, I understand the label. I can choose to have different values for the font size and things like that. So this is very much customizable. The key idea is that you can map anything possible. If the data is present in the diagram itself, we'll try to auto map. If it's not present, you can do the manual mapping to do it. So this was one example of Visio embedded inside Power BI. Now we'll talk about another cool feature.
Do you want to show the interactivity as well?
Yeah. So I'll show you another cool part of this. So here is the same diagram recreated and just published so that it's easily available. Now the best part is we have an auto zoom feature available, and which means that interactions on Visio visual automatically cross filter and highlight the other visuals. So when I'll click on this, that okay, this room seems to be hot and there's a higher deviation, I'll understand what is happening with the other Power BI visuals if they are showing some other values. I can similarly click on the Power BI visuals and see the interaction happening on the Visio side. So this feature is currently available in preview. You guys can try it out. Please check it out. It improves the dashboarding capability a lot because now you're able to represent data on a real world dashboard, on a real world layout, and that gives you more insights that one can get. We'll now talk about the next cool feature that we have on the desktop side, which is auto creating diagrams from the data itself. And Saurabh would talk about that.
So just one last thing on the Power BI dashboards. What this allows you to do is that Power BI can connect to practically any data source, and you can bring that data, put it on Visio. It can also be a real-time dashboard because Power BI supports real-time data sources, so you can get real-time data and overlay that also on top of Visio diagrams. So it just opens up so many possibilities in terms of what you can create with Power BI dashboards just by having this ability to create bespoke visualizations, custom visualizations using Visio. So now going to the Visio desktop and the auto generation of diagrams. So we talked about a little bit earlier when we said that many a times people have data present in something like an Excel or a database, and they would like to be able to create diagrams from it automatically, not having to manually create things, not having to manually map things, right? So we've started working on something what we are calling the data visualizer platform. And let's say this is sample process data. So the function represents the departments in an organization which do something. The phases represent the various phases of the process. And this column has the process description. And as you can see, this has like around 40 or so steps in the process. And this column, the next step ID, identifies that relationship that I think someone asked about. It identifies the relationship between the steps that, okay, for this step, these are the next steps. Now, taking something like this and creating a worthwhile diagram is at least a few hours of work, and making sure that it is all correct, it is all laid out fine, it takes some time, right? So what we did is that we have introduced these templates, new templates, cross-functional flowchart and basic flowchart templates. These are available in Excel as well, and from there you get some pre-created Excel sheets where you can fill in your data, but you can use any Excel sheet which has this kind of data, and you can import that into Visio. So I create a new diagram from one of those. The benefit that I get is that as soon as I start that, it asks me a question that, okay, what kind of diagram would you like to create, basic flowchart or a cross-functional flowchart, and where is the data coming from? So in this case, if I pick the Excel sheet that we had, and I say, sorry, I already picked it, and it will read the Excel sheet, try to look at all the tables which have the data, and once it finds that, it will lay out all those columns over here, and I can do some mapping over here, some customization over here to say that, okay, use this column as my, so these are the column names. Not sure if you can control. Yeah, so these are the column names which it picked up from the Excel sheet, and I can drag, so because we had named the columns like function and phase, it could automatically determine those, but if your column is named anything else, you can just drag and drop the column over here to do the mapping as to what you would like for various parts of the diagram. Now if I move forward, you can also map various things like, okay, this is the column that I want to use for my text on each of the shapes, etc. And once you say finish, it will just read all that data, look at the relationship that is there, and create the diagram for you. Yes.
Yes.
So you can export back to Excel, and any changes that you do in Excel, like let's say I were to add a row or delete something or anything of that sort, it will let you just refresh the data, and let's try it out once again. I think we have a couple of minutes, so
yes.
Let's play a little bit with it. I just love it. So yes. So this is available as part of the Visio Pro subscription. So Visio Pro for Office 365, if you have that, you'll see that in your data tab, you will start seeing this create from data section, which allows you to create these kind of diagrams, refresh it, and so on.
So this is like one of the very cool features where just in a single click, you're able to create this big, huge diagram, and all that was needed was that you have your data in some structured format in Excel. And in most of the companies, we've seen that people really do that. They go look at what are their processes available and then make all of the note-making things into Excel. So typically, processes are captured in Excel anyways. With just a minor tweak on the Excel front, you can now create beautiful diagrams. We're also planning to extend this in some time in future, and so that not just flowcharts and cross-functional flowcharts, we could do it for other types of diagrams, let's say some network diagram or org charts or some other forms.
So as you saw, as Rohan was speaking, I just changed the swim lane or the function for one of the orange, the shape that I had highlighted as orange. And as you see, it has recreated the diagram by looking at the fresh set of data that I had over there. And what you'd also see is that some customizations that I had done on the diagram, like if I change the color, text, font, or something like that of the shapes, it retains those. So it does not disturb those things completely. So it knows that, okay, the user had manually changed some things on the diagram, and it tries to keep them as much as possible. So this is one of the first steps that we are taking in this journey of being able to create diagrams directly from data. And the beautiful thing is that as you do that, each of these shapes has all that data that was there in the Excel sheet linked to it. So I think that finally answers your question, where you were asking that, instead of you having to manually do this thing, why can't Visio do it for you? So now it is linked. Now you don't need to enter those things manually. Now you can take this kind of a diagram that has been created and use it for dashboard in PBI, Power BI, or any such other automation that you would like to do. The other good thing that we've done is that from an extensibility point of view, now that this is there, let's say in an organization, somebody defines this kind of a template in an Excel file and defines what shapes it should map to while creating this diagram. So they can package all of that and make that available to other folks in their organization. So what you can also do is that you can take this definition and so the thing that I could do over here when I was importing that is I could pick any stencil. So right now I picked the cross-functional flowchart, and therefore it used the shapes from the cross-functional flowchart stencil to create this diagram. But let's say this was not a cross-functional flowchart, but a data flow diagram or an information flow diagram in your organization. You could pick the stencil while you're creating this diagram, and then it would use, instead of these boxes and rhombuses, it would use shapes from that particular stencil, and you would be able to create an information flow diagram also.
Yes, for example, if you want to have a BPMN diagram, so instead of those, if you want a specific set of shapes that you know in your company are being used as your standard, you could do that also today.
And then once you export it, it becomes available as a package, and the package, so I just said export over here, saved that thing, and now if I were to close this, and
so essentially the export is like all the first steps that we had done. That phase was a swim lane, this column was a function, here are my connectors, here is my label. If you do that step once and then export it as a package, next time you need not do it again for the same kind of template, because now this package understands what were the column mappings that you had already decided, that this column of Excel maps to this particular phase or function of your diagram. So this forms like a extensibility scenario where automatically you could create such custom packages of the VTPX as we call it, and these templates can be used for the data visualizer.
So it created a new file format called VTPX, which is a Visio template package. Now if I open this guy, what it will do is that it will install that, that template into my personal templates. And now if I were to create this, double click on that, it will automatically remember the mappings that I had done, and I just need to change the Excel sheet, and I'll be able to see the same mapping reused and same type of diagram recreated.
So yeah, this time Saurabh will just have to click the finish button and none of the next buttons.
Yeah.
So just to conclude, Visio Online and Visio Desktop have a lot of extensibility options. The core being that any diagram can be connected to a data source and can remain live, and that the diagrams can be smart and be able to change their geometry, colors, themes, etc. based on data. That is one. The other one being that you could now embed Visio Online into multiple platforms like your own websites and things like that. So that's again something great. And we're planning to invest more and more into all of this so that you'll be able to build much more powerful business scenarios for achieving your purpose. Please reach out to us at Tell Visio. We have lots of channels available on the MSDN blogs, user voice. You could reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, on any of those sources, and we'll be happy to help you guys. Sure. Okay. So you could build a, right, so there are two ways to do it. If you wanted to do it on desktop, we do have the COM-based add-ins and APIs where you can then have this form-based experience for this next step process. If you do it on online, then what you can do is in your, let's say, SharePoint page, you could have this form which is asking for the next steps. Although you cannot create on top of it, but let's say you wanted to assign names of those people on top of the diagram, on your process diagram, all of that is possible using the JavaScript APIs, which is in the online world.
So,
yes.
right, so you can have like a process map or a bunch of shapes identifying the onboarding process, like an employee onboarding process. You can list down those steps, and then when the employee joins, as he clicks on one part of the diagram, he will see a form, he or she will see a form, and they can enter their values over there. Once they submit, it can hide that part or dim that part and say that, okay, now you are into the next phase or the next step, and now these are the next set of questions that you need to answer, and you can go on like that. So it will require some programming, some development, but yeah, it can be done.
Guys, please give us the vote. However you like it, rate the session, and we are open for any Q&A for the next 5-10 minutes. We are also there in the booth. So on the South Hall, under the modern workspace, we have a Visio booth where you could ask any of your queries, and we could have detailed answers over there also.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
for your